student activities like that. I think I'm probably speaking to the choir when I say that the kind of character and skills that develops in young people just carries them through all the way through life. So that's pretty awesome. So that was fun to see. As Dr. Tolan said, my name is Jason Hay. I'm the new superintendent for Lynn Benton Lincoln ESD. Actually, I'm not a stranger because I was assistant superintendent for 4 years prior to taking over the role in October. And I'm not going to take a bunch of your time tonight, but I do want to just point out I dropped off a data sheet for you that shows a little bit of the data that is related to the excellent work that our LBL staff do for your students and staff on a daily basis. And later in your agenda tonight, you will have an opportunity to approve the local service plan, and just a reminder of how that works in the governance structure for that. The local service plan is developed every other year. This is actually an off year, so we just really made minor changes to it. So the plan is pretty much what you would have approved a year ago, with some new names and faces that are in there, such as your excellent superintendent that is a different name and face in the plan from the previous year. But really, the local service plan encompasses the services that ESD provides to every school district in our 3-county region. And so that's developed every other year with the superintendents. The governance of the 12 superintendents approved that plan, and then that plan is approved by my board. After my board approves it, it goes out to all of the component district boards, and so that's where you're receiving it tonight for approval. I just, on behalf of my own board, want to appreciate you and thank you for your support. This really is a partnership that we have in providing some really specialized services for your students. I also want to point out that in this area, the board representative for Lincoln County, his name is David Dunstan. He's been a longtime board member on the LBL board. And so he wasn't able to be here this evening, but he is the representative for this area. And then finally, I just want to a little plug that we're looking for a Lincoln County board member to serve on our budget committee. So it's really exciting. It's one meeting probably, but I would love if one of you could take an evening and do that. That would be great. With that, I don't have anything else to share with you tonight, but I would entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions from other board members? Jason, just let me say we appreciate your role in serving the needs of our students in Lincoln County School District, and we know that that's going to continue and it'll be very fruitful for us. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd like to say just how informative you've been in the last 3 or 4 years. I've just learned so much more about what the service district does for our schools, and I think that's really good. I like that you keep bringing it to us every year, just a reminder of all the services that are available. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate the time.
Drive safe.
Yep. I'll hang out for a while.
Okay.
So
more
at
kids, so.
this time, we will recess into a public hearing. And this pauses a regular business meeting and provides a time for the public to comment on the hearing item. Tonight's topic is the Title VI grant, and I think we'll have Sandy Mummy come up.
Sandy can come up. The grant is posted, and so
Okay.
it's been made available. If people have public comment on the grant specifically, then that's what this recess is for, is just the grant topic.
Okay.
You can come up if you want, in case there's a question.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is an opportunity for the public to make any comment or any board member to make any comment on the grant.
I can say that we're going into year 4 of a 4-year grant, so you won't see a lot of shifts in the grant itself. Next school year, you're likely to see some changes as they write the next iteration of the grant.
Okay, great. All right, then. If there's no more comment to be heard, then we will adjourn the public hearing. portion of the meeting and call the regular April business meeting back to order. Thanks, Sandy.
Thanks, Sandy.
And we'll move on to any other special recognition that we have, Dr. Tolan.
Yes, I would like to have Kim Cusick stand up, please. She's super pumped about this moment. Kim recently completed her school financial officer certification, which is huge for our school district to have someone with that level of education, let alone service that we have provided by Kim Cusick. So I wanted to make sure that we recognized her efforts. That's not a requirement for her to have her job. That's because she's dedicated to our district and her position and her education. So thank you so much for all the work that you do, Kim.
And just as a board member, I want to just piggyback on your comments for her efficiency and what she provides for the board to understand the budget and the budget committee. It's just really exceptional work, and without her work, we would be pretty lost about, because it's a big budget, and we appreciate your work, Kim. So at this point, we'd like to hear from a representative from the Lincoln County Education Association.
Vice President, Lincoln County Education Association. I am running solo tonight. Janice couldn't make it. I'm going to go ahead and start with shout outs, if that's all right. Do you think we can get all of the shout outs are in your board packet, and there are some images as well. Is it possible to get the first image up? I don't know if that. Anyway, you already heard a lot about the work of, oh boy, I labeled them wrong. Can we, first one. Yeah. You already heard a lot about the work of the secondary science curriculum adoption team, but we just wanted to send a special recognition to that team and the days and hours they spent working through the different options of curriculum. This is a picture of the teachers who were some of the teachers who were piloting. The teachers included were Nat Richmond, Janice Venture, Ollie Turnbull, Gerald Guthrie, Colton Blazier, Sarah Purcell, and Peter Herman. If we can go to the next one, at Toledo High School, Christina Webster, Rachel Wallace, and Janice Venture spearheaded the second educational field trip over spring break. They took 17 students to Amsterdam and Paris. They diligently fundraised and planned for over a year to make this amazing opportunity for our students happen. So that is a picture of those students at Notre Dame. Janice wants everyone to know that Christina and Rachel did all the actual hard work, and she just went along as an additional chaperone. I don't know who wrote this shout out, but they seem to think she did some work, and apparently chaperoning 17 students overseas in Europe is just some light thing, I guess. We also have Faith Horsey from Crestview Heights, who has a calm and graceful way she works with students. She has some challenging students, but is able to get them to make progress in reading, writing, math, and science. They are especially amazed with the things they see in science and social studies. She's a great mentor for new teachers and is helpful guiding new teachers through understanding all of the little minutia that has to be taken care of when you're a teacher. And then finally, Ollie Turnbull at Newport Middle is great at finding new ways to engage students in science. The big thing that this person wanted to shout out Ollie for is Follow the Waste field trip, where students visited a landfill and a recycling facility. Lincoln County School District is really lucky to have yet another really hands-on teacher. As for the business of the LCEA, we are back from spring break rested. Teachers are gearing up for our busiest time of year with conferences. SBAC testing has already been going on, and iReady. On the union side, we are getting ready to send our delegates to the Oregon Education Association's Representative Assembly. It is I think it is the largest democratic body in the state of Oregon. I know I'm going. That is the day after conferences. And I'm really excited. It was a great time last year. Finally, we would love to invite you, the board, to come to conferences on the evening of the 17th and the all day on the 18th from 9 to 8. with some lunch and dinner breaks in between. We would love for you to see how different conferences can look in each building, how they look at the various grade levels. It's also a great way to see families getting involved in their students' education, and we would love to see you guys in buildings. That's what?
We're planning on being there.
Oh, that's great. Well, I hope to see some or all of you at Newport High School in a couple weeks then. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate that. I just realized that I skipped over communications. And so what I'd like to do is just touch on communications and oops. I also missed reading one of our statements that we usually read at the beginning of our meetings, and I'll go ahead and do that now. Oregon law prohibits discrimination in all public elementary and secondary schools that receive state funding, including discrimination based on perceived race, color, religion, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, or national origin. All comments during our public board meetings will follow these policies. I would like to highlight two of these policies, AC, non-discrimination, and ACB, every student belongs, in regards to appropriate public comments. Thank you. Our board secretary, Eddie Simonton, gave me two blue cards. These are the ones that you need to fill out in order to speak in front of the board. Neither one of these cards speaks to an item on the agenda. And so Bobby Collins and Gary Thusen, you guys will have an opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting. So, okay, let's go on to consultant reports, staff reports, student reports, and we'll start with the area report from our West Area schools.
We'll go ahead and start with the student report part of that with Yaquina View, and then we'll move into Kristen and the rest of the administration. Okay.
That's great. No, please.
Before I have our students share with you what they have prepared for you, I'd just like to acknowledge Ms. Tiger, our school counselor, who oversees the work of our students who are building leadership capacity at Yaquina View. We have ambassadors who you can see are in blue vests. And then in the green vest, those are students on our green team. I believe strongly in students having jobs at school. And so that's all I said to Ms. Tiger. And she turned that into connecting leadership roles to the counseling competencies that she is heavily focused on. So at this time, we have a student from each second grade classroom that is going to introduce themselves to you and tell you what their role is.
Hi, my name is Elsie Whitaker. I am a student from Miss Monroe's class. I am a part of the Green Ambassador team. I like to be Green team because I like to help the earth and help people.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Milani. I am a student in Miss Hoach's class. I am a part of the Green team. I like being on the Green team because I like helping Mr. Rick. Hi, my name is Gray. I am a student in Miss Bernardi's class. I am a part of the ambassador team. I like being an ambassador because before the classes outside clean up, me and my friends can play, and we can also help the school where we put the lost and found stuff. Hi, my name is Shia Martin. I am a student in Miss Cummins' class. I am a part of the ambassador team. I like being on the ambassador because it is fun to go outside and help.
Hi, my name is Knight. I am a student in Miss Rodaker. I am a part of the ambassador. I like being an ambassador because I can go outside and clean. My name is Alonso. I am a student in Miss Bernardi's class. I am a part of the green team. I like being on the green team because it is fun and I get to help Mr. Rick King.
I wanted to say one final thing. So Alonzo and Melani are also mentors of students in our structured learning center. So we're trying really hard to make sure we're remembering to include our students who are in self-contained special education, and they both mentor students from that classroom so that they can be included in the leadership activities. So just another round of applause for these awesome people. They were waiting for me to tell them what to do next. I'm like, I still have to talk to the board too. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I will talk about where we're at with reading at Yaquina Elementary. So as I previously shared with you, we broke down our goals around reading and how it relates to the graduation rate, the graduation goal for the school board. So early in the school year, we mentioned that 50% of our students needed to be at or above benchmark in order to close the gap and for us to reach that 90% proficiency rate. In first grade, 32% needed to meet or exceed in order to close the gap. And then at kindergarten, according to the fall data, 62% needed to meet or exceed our standards according to the Acadian screener in order to be at that 90% proficiency rate for being on track to graduate. So this is what our winter benchmarking data look like compared to our fall. You can see that in kindergarten that we were able to grow that rate. We took a little bit of a dive in first grade and then maintained our winter data. So it's not good enough for us. That means 60% of our kids, 60% or more of our kids are not at reading at grade level. So we have some big concerns about that. One of the things that we've done since we presented to you last is that Dr. Barrett brought in Carol Disson to do some work with elementary principals and really examining the delivery of our core reading instruction. And so from that, we've been able to bring back that information to our staff and had some really robust conversations about what we can do differently with what we already have. So you can see where it says dose 1, so that first rectangle on the top, the tier 1 instruction, she talked to us about how we could tighten up the timing of teaching the phonics skills, and then also what we could be doing with expanding the amount of time spent with the decodable reader so that our students have lots of time to practice reading. Then she also talked to us about ways that we could, down at dose 2, so in the bottom left, differentiating our small group instruction. And then if you go over to dose 3, that's the area top right where we spend time focused on intervention. And you'll see that there's 2 rectangles there that are orange. They both say decodable text reading. So one of her recommendations was about us making sure that the dose 3 or the intervention reading decodable was the same as what they were practicing to read in dose 1. Because really the goal is for students to sound like fluent readers by the end of each lesson. So she spent a lot of time talking to us about mastery. And if we want them to sound like fluent readers and they're not quite at grade level yet, we need that decodable text to be at the level where they're at. So that's what she did with us. That meant we talked during professional development and during our PLCs about reading a little bit differently. So I'll start with our tier 2, which is supposed to be for some students, but you've already seen that we have 60% of our kids not reading at grade level yet. So we do a walk to read model so that students who are above grade level have opportunities to enrich their skills, and then those that are below grade level still get some support with catching up, and Title I is within that. So the change we made there was a full lesson of ECRI instruction instead of targeted skills. And that meant the same amount of decodable reading practice as well during their time in intervention. And then also down to Tier 1 or the dose 1, we worked on picking up the pace. Dr. Barrett and Carol Disson call this a perky pace. And then we're all, like I said in the previous slide, we're really aligning that decodable for the Tier 2 or the dose 3 and what happens in dose 1 so that they have more time for practice. And then I'll just jump down, since I've already talked about the differentiated small groups, down to the PLC. We had PLC training, or kind of a reboot, at an all admin meeting. And so that connects to everything we're doing in reading, because I've taken some tidbits from that and just been providing feedback to teachers after they meet in their PLC, and having them share out, you know, what they're working on, so that we can really focus on a vertical alignment in what we're doing.
Great. And in your slides, these start on slide 150. We've talked about how the graphics can be hard to see up there. So any of the principals can talk to you individually if you want more of an explanation on their strategies and the things that they're presenting. But in the slide packet, it does start at 150.
So obviously you're hopeful when we get the next round of test results that we're going to see some improvement there.
Yeah, I would agree, Liz, that we're hopeful that we close the gap even more. I'd like to be optimistic and think we'll get to that 90% and prepared for that not to happen, but I'm aiming for that. Next year, it's kind of a personal non-negotiable.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always that realization with what's reality.
Yep.
You know, but I'd like to see that you're on top of it. And, you know, honestly, this reading has got everyone's attention, what we need to do, so.
Yeah, I taught upper elementary, as you know, and middle school. And so I know what comes for them if they can't read. So it feels urgent to me.
Maybe a lot of summer school.
We'll talk about that later. Good, yeah. Good.
Thanks, Kristen.
Good evening. All right, I'm also going to focus on our goal 2 on-time graduation with our cohorts groups of 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. And so we also have that laser focus of really getting to the level of proficiency that's needed. So these are our last winter test scores. As you can see, overall at their grade level, 3rd grade has gone down, 4th grade has gone up by 2%, and 5th grade has lost ground as well. But what's happening is we don't see underneath all that what's really happening. There's 24 more students on this assessment that was able to retell. And able to retell meant that they have to actually read at least 40 words per minute. At the beginning of the year, they were not doing that. And so that's the cool thing, is it is a lot of laser focus on the skills that they need. And so we've been really studying a lot with the science of reading for our 3rd through 5th grade teachers, because 3rd through 5th grade really should be reading to learn. Well, right now they're learning how to read. And so about 60% of them. And so if you go to the next place, we really laser focus our PLCs on the science of reading and really dove deep into what does each student or grade level need. And so that grade level, 3rd grade, really decided, the data team, they were going to, what the students needed is focus at least 20% every 20 minutes, every day on vowel teams and digraphs, really to help with that automaticity, which will really help with their comprehension. 4th grade drilled down and they knew they needed multisyllabic word blending. And then 5th grade really wanted to tie in the long and short vowels with the multisyllabic word blending. And that's all layered on top of the already core that they need for their grade level as well. And so with that in mind, the scores for the accuracy that we've been working on, they did go up. So 3rd grade increased their accuracy by 48%. 10% growth for 4th grade, and then 5th grade also had that percentage increase. And so that was the by 8%. So that is their focus. And so they continue that with their professional learning communities as well. You can go to the next one. And so Tier 1, we continue to align our high leverage strategies for engagement. There was a lot of growth in on-task behaviors, especially for 3rd graders, and the explicit vocabulary routines that, and comprehension routines in February was very valuable, and all 3rd through 5th grade teachers were trained in that, as well as we are embracing the high leverage strategies and the 7 steps to language rich in classroom, interactive classrooms. And those strategies alone are helping to increase the engagement piece, which they can increase also then their attention on specific tasks that they need so they can grow as readers and writers. And then also a big piece, and I said it last time we met too, is our professional learning communities is what is moving the dial. And so we come together, the teachers are working hard, all specialists are working with them to really have that laser focus on reading, because we truly believe that reading is a right and not a privilege. So we're really working through that. And then our commitment to what are the target skills that they need in the progression of reading. So our kids still need that accuracy. At least 60% of them need that accuracy. And so they embed that as well into their small groups and interventions. And then we have wonderful coaching opportunities with the Oregon RTI, the response to intervention and instruction, to increase everything from high leverage strategies to build readers, as well as knowledge of specific things we can do aligned to the science of reading to move our students into readers. Effective critical readers. And so again, I'm going to add right here is the attendance focus. We also have an attendance focus because we cannot teach them if they're not here. And we actually continue to grow each month. And we are, I have to say the highest elementary, 72.2%. So every staff member is working hard to connect and belong, help students belong, and help parents with whatever they need to help their students get here. So that's really exciting. We're nearing that goal that you have for all of us, but we have for ourselves. And so that's exciting, tier 1. And then tier 2, for some students, we're still really focusing on our intervention services. And we had an amazing coaching experience with the author and presenter, Anita Archer. She came in and really evaluated our Title I program and gave amazing the debriefing on all the things that our title staff was doing effectively, but also what else we can do to intensify to make sure that we are growing our students that are far below where they need to be at this time. And then we continue our daily reading interventions and our tiered meetings to really have a laser focus on that, on our evaluation of our impact. And then we continue to adapt what we need to grow our readers.
Thank you, Marcy.
Marcy, if I could just make a quick comment, I
Sure.
really appreciate you showing us the effectiveness of PLCs and getting a result. That is really awesome.
Thanks.
I'm really excited to see that.
That's
Yeah.
where it's at, because it's the collaborative piece. It really is that the belief in each other and the learning that each staff member goes together. It's that collective efficacy that matters. And that's the high effects. And that's why it's growing, but not at the rate we want, but
Yeah.
we're going to continue to work on that. Yeah.
Well, the PLCs are just sort of starting to
Yes.
become effective, right?
You're right.
Yeah, so that's really heartening to see.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Set your timer.
All
I
right.
see him doing it.
So,
Just giving you a bad time party.
I just want to say good evening, and it brings me great joy to know that I have 2 very competent assistant principals behind me, Denzel Kumar and Peter Ellingson. I just want to give them a shout out before I get started. In addition, I just want to tell you all that I'm super proud of Newport Middle School, our ELD students, our ELD program. We just exited out 10 students from ELD. So a major shout out to the wonderful work that's happening in Newport Middle School. If you will see, I'm going to highlight a little bit about our math goal. This is one of our building goals that we really wanted to focus on. If you're a fast reader, you can go ahead and read it, but I'll go ahead in layman's terms. It just means we're going to increase the good by 20% and we're going to decrease the bad, or I'm going to say the double red, the area that we don't want to be in, by 20%. So we want to make sure that we are yielding those sorts of goals. I put down there below a little bit about how I feel like we would rate ourselves on a scale from distinguished to unsatisfactory based on those goals. So The next slide is just a little bit of a visual regarding what is happening with our math scores at Newport Middle School. The first graph there is our iReady data from fall. You'll see the second one below is the most current, which is winter benchmark assessment. I just want to kind of let everybody know we will get the spring data after April 22nd. That's when the window opens. But I will just kind of highlight a few things that are happening, and they're pretty positive trends. So as you can see, we had about 14% in the green, and then we have 19% in the green in the winter. So we're making some gains. If you want to look at how many students that has impacted, it went from 9 to 24 students. So that is 15 students that we are enriching and meeting their educational needs at grade level. The same kind of trend is happening down in the double red. You'll see that 44% was our kind of baseline data in the fall. And then you will see winter data showing that we're at 36%. So that is a decrease of 8%. And you can see some pretty positive trends. But I just want to give a shout out to what is happening at Newport Middle School. We have intervention classes that are targeting our students that are needing the most support in math. We have 6 intervention classes that are tailored to their math needs that really just provide them with that extra needed scaffolding to help them in their core, which is their regular math class. So you will see that in some cases, we do have students taking kind of 2 math courses, one really focused, hyper focused on what they need, and then also doubling up on core instruction. I will just say that is my kind of soapbox to say what we're doing is working. In addition, I know Mrs. Doyle, principal of Sam Case, talked a little bit about PLCs. We have strong PLCs at Newport Middle School as well. We focused on priority standards. It is amazing to see our teachers really look at data, drill down on data to really talk about what are the trends that they're seeing and how students are being assessed on that assessment.
I just want to throw in there, thank you, Marty, that when he's talking about where their numbers are at, those were numbers that across the district last year, we didn't see until the end of the year. So in their mid-year point, they saw the growth that we historically have been seeing over the course of a full year. So we're really looking forward to end of year data because that was a very positive trend for us to see.
Thank you, Marty. That's awesome. Appreciate your report.
All right.
Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you again for recognizing our kids. The last time we were here, we got to recognize kids too. So that was really exciting. Newport High School's goal is around on-time graduation. And so really increasing to the 88% to meet the board goal. On the next slide, so we looked at iReady a little bit different this year. Our staff puts a lot of effort into the interventions available with iReady, and yet they're only available if they're below that ninth grade or below. And so we wanted to look at what the data looked like across all 4 grade levels this year at that 9th grade. So the green indicates 9th grade or above. And the red indicates below 9th grade. And then the yellow is students that have not taken either the fall or the winter assessment. So you can see in 9th grade, it's about 35% of our students. 10th grade, they're increasing 51. Our 11th graders are at 66. And then our seniors drop down to 55. We really believe that has more to do with the students that are not taking the iReady assessment, but we're excited to see that trend that as students are going through school. For instance, we would have students that were testing into Algebra 2 level on the math, but they were showing in the red. So it was really discouraging for our staff to look at that, knowing that they're still at what they need to for high school graduation, and yet we're showing it in the negative. So that's what we're looking at right now. If you go to the next slide, we're doing several things. Again, PLCs come up a lot at Newport High. We've really been focusing on one particular strategy throughout the year. We're kind of wrapping that up tomorrow with the staff presentation, and then we'll be moving on to other parts of the 7 Steps book that have been mentioned. We've done peer observations this year, homeroom lessons. But the pieces that I'm most excited about are our interventions using that I Ready My Path. A big shout out to Nathan Green for organizing these interventions. We have 3 to 4 staff members every day working with students that are identified to come to those intervention groups. And they're coming, which is exciting. So at the beginning of the year, we felt like we were having to chase them, but they're really bought into that piece now. So great job to him. We also are seeing a lot of success with our ELD tutoring. So we have an ELD grad coach this year, thanks to some targeted money. And we're excited that that will continue next year because we're seeing huge growth. So semester 1, our freshman on track rate was 97%. We continue to be over 95 for the last several years. And our ELD grad rate or grad on time was at 94% for semester 1, which is just amazing for us. We're so proud. It was in the 50s 2 years ago. It was at 79% during our last report card. And we're able to provide such targeted interventions for students. So really proud of that work. We also are we also have a study skills class this semester, and so we're providing My Path and other types of interventions through that.
Great. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions before? Yeah.
All of you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I just want to brag on them for a second. So today we had an all administrative meeting and Marty checked his watch because we talk about timing and they practice this with each other. But the rigor in that administrative meeting today, when they were all sharing across the district, the strategies, the things that they're working on, where their data truly is at, there wasn't anybody trying to hide what's working well or pretend stuff isn't working. It was just a really rich discussion from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. And I think your presentation was excellent, really focusing in on what are we doing that's working and how are we moving that dial. So thank you all 4 of you for that presentation today.
Appreciate your information. Thanks. So we will now hear from Business Services Director Kim Kusick for this month's financial report.
We missed you last month, but Carol did a great job. We missed you last month.
Oh, thank you. So I've updated the financials as of March 31st. On the general fund revenue and expenditure summary, I want to note that I updated the local revenue and the state school fund pieces to reflect the most recent state school fund estimate that we received on March 19th. I also updated the severe disabilities revenue from the ESD to the actual that we expect this year, which is only, it's less than half of what we normally get. It's based on the number of students that are served. So we do expect that to increase again next year. The other piece I want to point out is that I've added on the ADM section at the bottom, I added the budget figure in there and then the difference year to date. So compared to budget, we're down 152 students.
Yeah, I noticed that. And I had just a real quick question. Of course, that's going to have a budget impact for us.
Maybe because remember, it's a weight,
average.
it's a weighted formula. This is just straight ADM. It doesn't include the weights. It also doesn't reflect what's happening around the rest of the state. So if our ADM goes down, but the statewide dollars per ADM goes up, then we could still be okay. But it tends to level out.
And when are those numbers determined?
For this year?
Yeah, you're gonna have that information before we do our budget, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have an estimate for next year.
Okay.
Yes. Present that at the budget committee meeting. On the comparison, you can still see that the interest on our investments is still high because the rates are very high right now. We have a little bit of excess revenue and again, we're underspending on our expenditures compared to budget, compared to our projected for this month. And again, that's based on 8 years average and COVID kind of skewed those numbers somewhat. So take that with a grain of salt. The purchase services comparison, one thing I want to note on here is the utilities, the telephone is down about $5,000. That's because we pay that on auto pay with a Visa card and it didn't get on the statement that cut at the end of the month. So it'll be doubled on next month. And then with transportation, you can see there was a bit of a drop in February and then it's back up again in March. That's just a timing difference with when the field trip invoices come. Any questions so far? On the special revenue funds, I just want to remind everybody that the negative fund balances, the ones that have the 3 asterisks, those are reimbursement grants. And so that's a normal thing. We spend the money and then we're reimbursed in the future for those. The transfers that you approved, our budgeted transfers that you approved last month are reflected on this statement. And then also you'll note that the food services account the fund balance is down fairly substantially from last month, but that's because there's a lag in the revenue that comes in. We're expecting about 3 months revenue, which is about 300,000 a month. So it's really more like 900,000 once that revenue comes in.
So I had a question about the outdoor school for all fund. I noticed it's zeroed out. Does that mean that all of our elementary schools have done outdoor school?
No. No, some of them have done them. Some of them do them in the fall, but most do them in the spring.
Yeah.
And we are not able to get reimbursed until about July.
Okay.
We have to close out the whole year. All of the expenditures, we turn that into OSU and then they reimburse us after the fact.
And the outdoor school funding, that's a state law, right?
It is.
So that's going to be a continuing funding
Yes.
source. Yeah.
The funding is based on dollars per student and also it depends on how many districts around the state claim the money. So there's a certain pot and then they just distribute it. We haven't been denied
Okay.
yet, though.
Yeah.
We have a
I'm
good
glad
robust program.
that's happened. It's a good program.
Yeah. Bills and claims. Our normal monthly expenditures, you can see the IB test fees are on there as well. Some grading and gravel for the bus parking and the brush removal up at Ocean Lake that we did to prepare for Lincoln City's project to put in some sidewalks there and also hopefully create a different driveway there to ease the traffic during drop off and dismissal times. And also we've started on the project at Arcadia, the post-fire mitigation grant from FEMA that we've received. That work's begun out there. So we're replacing siding and windows and that will continue throughout the year. And on the investment report, interest is still holding at 5.2% for their LGIP and 5.12 at Oregon Coast Bank.
That's so good for us.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Any questions for Kim?
Thanks.
Thank you. So we have a written report from first student in the agenda. Is there a representative who would like to speak?
There she is.
Are we really getting drivers from Montana? That's incredible.
From where?
Montana.
Where at?
I believe he's from Billings. Yeah.
In the area west.
So yes, we have, at this point, we have 5 out of state drivers. 4 out of Washington and 1 out of Montana, and they're helping us cover routes, and we were very appreciative for that. I want to actually show my appreciation to Eddie, who allowed me, and to Rich as well. Actually, the whole team, to allow me to take 3 extra spring break days to go see my mom in Germany, which was, I haven't seen her for 20 years. So thank you so much
wow.
for covering my route, because I'm a bus driver now too. So we're all on the wheel, and we're all helping out, getting the kids to school and back home. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, yeah. So, you have any other questions for me?
Oh, thank you for your work.
Yes, we got to get it done, right?
I liked your comments that you shared with us, and very timely and really
Yeah.
shows all the training and that you
Yeah.
put in and
Yeah.
time with your drivers. I'm always out recruiting for you because I you run a wonderful program.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the team. Everybody contributes, and that's what I'm so appreciative for. To have such a great
It
team.
shows they'd be honored to work for you.
I just want to piggyback on your thoughts there. You, about the qualifications of the drivers. You talked a little bit about route familiarity.
Mhm.
And I think that's so important for a sense of community and safety for our kids.
It is.
Really appreciated that insight. Thank you for.
Yeah,
sharing
you're welcome.
that.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we have the monthly feed. Jamie, if you want to come up and chat with us a little bit.
We've been busy. We weren't able to
looks
come,
like it.
yeah, we weren't able to come last month. We had our annual ODE audit, and so I put that in the newsletter, and you can read the comments that the auditors had, but we did very well, so.
Congratulations.
Yes, that's a good report.
Like, really well.
I had no doubts that you'd do well, having eaten your food, so.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions specifically on the newsletter?
Awesome.
On any of the pieces?
I mean, to me, it's a little 2 sides of the coin, right? Our poverty rate
Mhm.
goes up, but what that does for us is we have free meals for everybody for through 27, 28.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're locked in on that.
Yeah, that's just really awesome.
The reason that they did go up is because Medicaid is now counted,
Okay.
and that was due to some COVID waivers. Those numbers are really inflated right now. The state does anticipate that to come down a little bit and to sort of level out in a couple years. We'll still reapply every April, so I'm in the middle of reapplying again, even though we just did it in December, so that we can push it out to 2028, because we recognize how important it is to have the free meals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, kids are hungry, they're not learning. Yeah. And I also just wanted to say, I really am happy about the extension of the school gardens into Toledo.
Mhm.
I think that's a great program, and having kids be connected to their food in that way is just so critical. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool there. Derek Robinson, the CTE cultural foods teacher that's at there, he has put in to do a hydroponic CTE course, hopefully next year, that'll tie into our gardens, and his kids will help build that. So that's just very cool.
Yeah,
Amazing-
hydroponics.
An amazing piece of property to be able to put our greenhouse in and build our gardens in Toledo High. So it's gonna be really special.
Where is it going to be placed?
It's
When you come up the driveway, that little gate, the little drive that's
Oh,
got the
okay.
gate and the big grassy field, there's nothing
Okay.
that's happens there. We're gonna use that space there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so it's nice and flat
Excited.
and lots of
Yeah,
sun and
yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
good.
Can you share briefly about McMinnville?
Oh, yeah, McMinnville School District is coming tomorrow. We attended the Farm to School conferences we shared with you prior, and we were really well received, and we've had a lot of contact from other school districts, so they're starting to trickle out, and we're trying to send how we're doing it. Our blueprint that we have is really impressive to most school districts, and so they're hoping to copy that. So McMinnville will be here tomorrow for that.
Isn't it great when Lincoln
Success
County,
breeds
yeah, right,
success.
Lincoln County School District is a model for these things. That's really,
Congratulations.
we're proud about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I met yesterday, I've been trying to help Roseburg get through their AR. And I met yesterday with Umpqua Thrive and Umpqua Valley Farm to School to talk about the program. And I was invited, I thought I was just going to a meeting and it was, okay, well, tell us how you do it. And I said, well, it's not just me, there's a bunch of us that are all involved. But the same that Jamie said is that they're looking to us as the model. And we get phone calls almost daily from different school districts on how do you make it happen? And how does the school district food service program afford a school garden coordinator, which is, and how do we get teacher buy-in? So, and it's a big shout out. When we did go to the Farm to School conference, I think we represented really, really well. And there were a lot of comments on how does Lincoln County do it? So.
Not to suck up, but I will say, I think the reason that Lincoln County is so successful is we have support from the top. Most school districts that you talk to, they don't have that at all. And so the fact that we have support from administration here just pushes us so much further along than most school districts. We have areas like Roseburg who have huge farming options, all these opportunities, and the administration just doesn't buy into it, so they can't do anything about it. And here we are in Lincoln County where we really don't have that, but we're willing to do whatever it takes to get it here. So thank you, Miley's always, Kim has been amazing support with that, helping us figure out how to navigate things that I don't necessarily know how to do. And so, and it started with Karen, of course, getting it off the ground. It's appreciated.
Yeah,
Makes
well,
us
we're really proud of the work you do.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And then just to let you know, next month is contract month. So we should see the CPI come out in about a week. So that'll tell us what our increase is for contract. We'll bring you to the contract. You guys can review it and then we'll go from there. So for food service management.
Okay.
And then I just really quickly wanted to let you know that we are in Sodexo World. We're doing some different steps. I've been promoted to an area general manager, so I'm kind of helping throughout Oregon. But when I'm not here, Becca Smith, who has been kind of our quality control person, is moving up to an actual food service manager position. So in my absence, she will be here to carry on with what needs to go on. And then just know that this is my first love. I'm always here. So
Congratulations.
yeah, thanks. We'll see.
Congratulations.
That gray hair.
Yeah. Little blonde, little blonde in there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to board reports. Nothing, Mike? Nope. Megan?
No, thank you. I'm gonna pass. Matter of time.
Okay, just very quickly, I can't help but say what I get to experience.
I'm not gonna comment.
All fair.
It's all fair. Well, listen, I know, Liz, that you also went to the CTE Expo, which was held at OCCC. What a fantastic event. It's the second year that it's happened. Fantastic to see our students sharing their work, communicating with people about what they're doing. That is just really an awesome opportunity for them. And I know we're going to continue doing it. It's a great connection for them to go to the college. That's really great. And just, I talk about Aspire every meeting. That's the program where volunteers help high school seniors prepare for scholarships and admissions to post-secondary education. Just to make a point of it, the Lincoln County Foundation Scholarship application is due on Monday. So if you know any high school seniors, make sure that you get your NAG into them to get that done, because it's worth a lot of opportunity for them. And it's a really good, it's a great thing to have kids think about their futures and be able to articulate their goals and to start living a little bit in their future. That's a great experience. All right, we'll go on to superintendent's report and we'll hear from Dr. Tola.
It made me think of another award that somebody won that I need to comment on tonight. Okay, so just in your under separate cover, the confidential exempt employee group agreement is there. This is just information. It'll be an action item next month. So I want to highlight that to make sure that you review it under separate cover. I do want to have a public thank you to Hatfield Marine Science Center and Associate Director Mark Farley. Today, we were able to have our administrative meeting intentionally at Hatfield Marine Science Center in the Gladys Valley Marine Studies Building. That's the newest building over there that opened in 2020. I think the greatest thing about that was, as we talk about a potential renewal bond, what would we want that to look like, and really envisioning collaborative space and all the different things that we can do when you start thinking about buildings or remodels. So that was a great opportunity for us. I really appreciated his comment on how we can do it differently in rural Oregon. And by being here, we are able to collaborate with a 4-year university, a 2-year university, industry right down on Bayfront, the science industry. We have it all right here. And, you know, he made the comment, we go to soccer together. So we do see each other all throughout this county. And I think that, you know, we continue to build those partnerships, and I'll hit on that again here in just a second. Thank you to Michelle Cottrell. It was just librarian day, I believe is what it was called. It was a couple days ago. Michelle organized the Lincoln County Battle of the Books. You have to compete in a county battle before you can go to state. And that's a kindergarten through 8th grade competition. We had a number of teams. I think there might have been 12, but I might have made that number up. So don't put that in the article, Susan Skynema. But we had a lot of teams there, and I got to go to Newport Public Library, who opened up for us to be able to have it there. Librarians across the county helped run it. We had student volunteers who were judges, and it was just a really great day. Battle of the Books is a series of books that Oregon librarians choose, and students read them and study them, and they learn to compete at them. Just like we saw our students here today that won titles in athletics, you can win a state title in reading. And so they prepare for these competitions, and I didn't stay to see who the winner was, but we're able to send one from each category from Lincoln County that does go to a state competition or regional and then state. So we're very excited and thankful for Michelle and all the county librarians who helped with that. Just another point of conversation is we were invited to have our May 14th board meeting at the Lincoln County Evacuation Assembly Point. So this is interagency development. We're one of the sites across the state that was picked of in the event of the Cascadia earthquake, where will we go and what will we do? And really, what will the command center look like? And so they researched all across Oregon, and the Newport Airport was one of the locations that was chosen to be one of the regional evacuation and really command center points. The county commissioners will be having one of their meetings there, and we're invited to have a board meeting there. The board will need to vote on that. You could have that become an action item, or we can put it on the agenda for our April work session and just vote at that point, but it will be a change in location. So Eddie checked and we need to vote. But that is a really great opportunity for us to be invited there, because it will be a big part of what we do. And Sue Graves is an exceptional partner, not just in our county, but across the state and across the country, which she's been really actively involved in what that will look like in the case of that event. The last thing that I will comment on is we did qualify to apply for 1.1 million for summer learning money. There's a lot of not really strings, but a lot of things that have to happen to make that go, where we can turn in that application. And we believe that we have met all of those requirements. The application is due on April 15th. Big kudos to the Lincoln County administrative team for the work that they've done. We've had over 55 educators respond to things that they would be willing to offer over the summer, which is also fantastic. And we'll be reaching out to them. And then we've also had over 15 county partners respond that they want to help us make summer learning happen for the whole summer, not just for the 2 weeks that we will be offering it. So it's incredibly exciting for us. It's incredibly overwhelming too, but awesome that we have that many partners that want to make it happen. So we will get our application in, we'll apply for that full amount. I believe that we'll be able to spend it. And then we'll work with really putting the puzzle together with our partners to make it happen across the county. But just really grateful to live in a county with that many people that are right on it and asking us, you know, what do we need? But more importantly, that saying, like, if you have this, how can you help so that summer learning happens all summer and not just when they're up on our campus? So I'm really, really excited, and we will get that application up. I know Director Martin is very interested in summer learning money, and if you don't know, she's very, very involved with nonprofit organizations across the county in continued learning for students. So this is a really big thing and really exciting that we qualified for that amount to help our students.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that we'll get that. So we'll now move on to the adoption of the consent calendar, and the consent calendar agenda items are designed by the board to be adopted in a single motion unless an individual board member or the superintendent requests an item be removed for consideration. Action on matters of a routine matter is addressed in one motion to conserve time for other deliberation by the board. So the chair will now entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as published in this month's board agenda.
I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
So we have a motion by Board Director Mike Rawls and a second by Board Member Liz Martin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, we'll go on to action items. And these are decision items that have been presented to the board for discussion and questions at a prior meeting. Some circumstances may dictate a decision item without prior discussion, but I don't think we have that for tonight. We'll now move on to the action items. The chair will now entertain a motion to adopt K-12 ELD curriculum in the amount of $112,242.89 and adopt the elementary social science curriculum at no cost to the district as presented at the March board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll
moved-
second.
Okay, moved by Megan Colley and seconded by Mike Rawls. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. This is going fast. The chair will now entertain a motion to adopt the secondary science curriculum in the amount of $157,814.82 as presented at the March board meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll do this one too.
Okay, Megan, and a second?
Second it.
And Liz. So it's been moved by Megan Colley and seconded by Liz Martin to adopt the secondary science curriculum. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And on to the board will now hear from Secondary Director Aaron Baloney and Assistant Superintendent Susan Van Loo about the Creative Solutions contract.
Good evening. All right, so Susan and I are here to request your support on the Creative Leadership Solutions contract. This is for our work with professional learning communities. As you guys have been apprised before that we are continually working on professional learning communities. We've done a lot of work with our principals and our staff on what those look like. And we think we are ready to take the next step in that phase. You saw the work that's happening with our principals from the West area here
Awesome.
today. And we believe the next phase for us is coaching. So we've done some training and conferences, and that's one thing to do. And then coming back and having to implement that and encountering the challenges that come in small rural area with PLCs is the next step for us is coaching. And Creative Leadership Solutions, we believe, is the correct company for us to go with. They speak our language. They can present a consistent message for our teachers and for our principals in all of our buildings.
Everything he said.
And any questions you might have on that, and I can talk in more detail on what that entails. We're looking at having there's a couple different, they'll have 2 sessions with our administrators that are both training and like workshop type things for our principals to be ready for rolling into our 24-25 school year with professional learning communities. There's also a visit that would happen this spring with our schools so that they can meet the principals, understand where people are now today and what their PLCs are working on, and get a feel for our schools and just where they're at, and help the principals in that action planning step for next year. And then next year we'll front load with 3 visits in the first semester where they will see, the goal is to see all of our professional learning communities when they come in. So not just come in and see one, but we'll devise a way where they can see each professional learning community on those coaching visits. and debrief with the principals each time. And then, so they'll have a fourth one next year in the spring as a culminating event. So they get a total of 5 visits from a coach that's very consistent because of the company that we're going with.
Yes, we did go out for bid because it's a large amount. So I want to be clear. We went out for bid. There were 3 companies that got back to us. This is the company that we believe fit what it was we asked for. And as Aaron said, is speaking the language that we've been already talking in the district. So it will look very seamless rather than some of the other companies had some different vocabulary for the very same thing. And to us, that felt problematic for the teachers and, you know, staff in buildings. So we believe this is the best company. And we followed appropriate process.
Well, if I may, will each school receive 5 visits or is it for?
Each school receives 5 visits from their coach. Each school is assigned an individual coach.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is paid forth with ESSER dollars also.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah, we're using ESSER dollars to pay for this because the PLC work is about lost learning, kids needing more understanding what kids need as far as their learning, right? That's what PLCs are about. So we're able to use the end of the ESSER money that is still available to us.
Is this something that we would be purchasing just once? This is March 2024 to May 25. So this would be, or is it something that we are anticipating having an annual, a one-time thing? Am I asking my question?
Yes, I understand what your question is. At this point in time, we believe that these sessions that we're doing, because of the groundwork that's already laid, we believe these 5 coaching sessions, because what will happen is they're going to come in one whole day and see all of the PLCs in a building and then leave with an action plan what the PLC teams need to be doing until the next visit. And so we are hopeful that these 5 visits will move the work forward. That's not to say that there might at some point be a next step, but at this point, this is the step. So we are hopeful that next year with this will move the work exponentially forward, faster.
And the hope is, again, could you repeat the hope that?
The hope is.
Yeah, what you hope.
That student learning is accelerated.
Oh, good. That's what I thought. But
I think it's
Yes.
twofold. It is student learning outcomes that we're looking at, but it's
Right.
also part of the PLC process is a teacher learning process.
Right.
And so we get, it's
You
2
get
different.
2 for 1.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, got it.
I appreciate the comment that you're saying that you feel like you've gone as far as you can, maybe with what you can do at this level, that you need to reach up and get some better teaching and guidance. I think that's what I'm hearing you say, right? And
Yes.
that would, to me, it's a good investment. You've already made an investment in learning communities. Let's take it one more step. So I think it's a great idea. Happy to see it. I'm really happy to hear that you have ESSER dollars. That makes it all that much better.
That's right.
Yeah, not out of the general fund.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate your.
Yep,
your
thank you.
comments. Thank you. And the chair will now entertain a motion to approve the Creative Solutions contract and the amount of $430,000, $430,500.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second it.
So it's been moved by Mike Rawls and seconded by Liz Martin to approve the Creative Solutions contract in the amount of $430,500. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so going on to the updated budget calendar, and we'll hear from Kim Kusick once again.
So we just have a couple of fairly minor changes to the budget calendar. And I apologize for the dark green here. It was lime green on my computer, but it didn't print that way. So it's kind of hard to read. I just noted in the dark green, those are the changes on the changes to the when you elected the budget committee members. And then we've announced that the budget committee training will be on April 23rd during the work session that's already been scheduled. That will start at 6 o'clock. For anybody on the budget committee that wants to come, if you've been before, that's fine. It's primarily for the new members, but anybody can come. And then the budget committee meetings that we had scheduled, the first two dates are the same, but the time has changed on the May 16th meeting from 6:30 to 7 o'clock. Start a half an hour later.
Now, I did notice, at least on the copy that I had, that it mentioned the news times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the Lincoln Leader. Is that?
They changed their name to Lincoln Leader. They changed their name to Lincoln Leader.
They did. Okay.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
It's the same.
So we'll
They
make
still
correction.
They still post under both the News Guard and the News Times, but they've combined to one.
Okay.
One paper.
Thank you for mentioning that in the record, because in our organizational resolution, it says that we'll publish our paper of record is the News Times. So that's important.
Does that need to be changed at the April work session? Would we need to make a change of that?
I know.
I think if the board wants to do that now that.
Or
Or
check
we could do
if
it in
we have to
April.
do that now. We might need to do it now. Yeah, but if the paper doesn't exist anymore, we still have to post.
From what was adopted last July to now that we're having different. Like some research on that.
It's the same paper. It's just a different
It's
name.
a different
So
title.
I think just mentioning it on the record is
Perfect.
adequate. We can check on that, and if we need the board to take action on that, we could do that at the
Okay.
work session.
Perfect.
Okay.
Google it, it still comes up.
I know it does. They're still using all the, yeah.
So go ahead for the motion. Okay, so the chair will now entertain a motion to approve the updated budget calendar as presented in this April 2024 board folder. A motion and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Megan. So we do have a motion from Liz and this seconded by Megan to approve the updated budget calendar as presented in this board folder. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Really excellent. Okay. Thanks, Cam. So the chair will now entertain a motion to approve the local service plan from the Lynn Benton Lincoln Educational Service District as presented in the March and April board folder.
I make the motion.
Thanks, Mike
I'll second it.
and Megan. So we have a motion by Mike Rawls, seconded by Megan Colley to approve the local service plan from the LBLESD. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Wow. Okay. So we will now move into the information and discussion items. And this is going to be the time for our public comment. And these are general comments, public comments to the board, and we do have a 3-minute time limit, and we'll start with Gary Thusen, please. It's time to address the board. You gave a blue card on food allergies.
Well, again, as I'm thinking about things that go on in the school and how to improve them, I'm talking about food allergies. I understand that there are a number of children with food allergies, and so at least in some of the schools, the way they have handled this is to separate the kids with their food allergies from the kids without their food allergies at lunch. So there's not cross-contamination. Sounds a little discriminatory, doesn't it? So borrowing from previous policies and ideas of how to handle such of a thing to prevent discrimination, I thought about another way that we could handle the food allergies in school. So the kids that are allergic to food allergy, well, let's specifically talk about nuts. And I got a sample here, peanuts. The kids who are allergic, let's call them nutters. And the kids, who are not allergic, call them nutters. Those who are allergic, we'll call them no nutters. So the nutters sit in their area and they can enjoy their nuts, and the no nutters sit over here where they can be safe from being exposed to the nuts. And that's great until some of the nutters decide they don't like all the nuts. They only like peanuts. So they don't want to sit with the nutters anymore. And they demand that they go sit with the no nutters. Now the no nutters might take a little problem with that because the non-nutters bring with them the peanuts that they love. Remember, they only don't want to sit with the nutters because they don't like all those other nuts that those guys like. So they go to the no nutter table, taking their peanuts with them, and the no nutters are a little offended or actually a little fearful because now they're getting exposed to some things that they thought they were safe from, right? The rest of the day, other than at lunch, they get along fine. There's no problem with them intermingling and mixing. But during lunch, they're a little hesitant. Well, if the no nutters complain that the non-nutters are exposing them to something like this, they are told that they are nut phobic. Right? And they should just shut up and suck it up and live with it because the decision's been made that the non-nutters can sit with the no nutters. After all, what could possibly go wrong? And if others don't understand what I'm talking about, go look at the last 10 minutes of the meetings in February and March and see what else I've talked about with this. I know the board knows what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Okay. We'll now hear from Bobby Collins on general concerns. Is Bobby here?
Hi, my name's Mark Herzog, and I'm speaking on behalf of Bob Collins and a group of parents and children for Lori Miller. I'm not all sure exactly what happened, and she has been, one day he's got her for half a day of school. My son Hunter here, who is in Lori Miller's class. And she disappears after class. The kids are halfway through the day. Kids don't know where she's at, if she's coming back. I've been in touch with Lori Miller since the beginning in hopes of, helping my son grow and if she needed help with him or anybody. And I said, what's going on? And she goes, well, I'm not supposed to talk about it. And I go, okay, but are you coming back? The parents and kids that I'm talking for is concerned that we would like to have her back and we would like to finish out the year because she's been such a great help for my son and brought him up. We were in communication weekly on how he's doing, where he may need a little help, which she would feed that to me on a weekly basis. And I was able to, at that time, help him pass that struggle. Maybe read out loud to me rather than have him read himself, so that we could see where he's needing help. So I would like to say that we would like to, see Lori Miller come back for the sake of our kids And for me, I mean, I've been in the school district for many years, as Liz knows. And, you know, I'm not exactly sure what happened, what went on. However, I would really like to see, as well as the parents that and kids that I know that were in his class, would like to see her come back and finish out the year. And I know she is retired last year or something, and then came back for one more year. I'd like to see her finish out the year and help our children, our kids. That's about what I got to say on that.
Okay, just so you understand this, the board doesn't respond to personnel items. In fact, we're, as a board, that's not our role.
Okay.
That's all personnel, and we have a human resources department that deals with that, and that's how that's gonna be.
Okay,
worked out.
I was
Yeah.
just know that I don't do this very often, but I'm in touch, I'm in the loop, you know, and so if there's anything you can guide me to, or, you know, the parents that I know, so that we can go that direction. I mean, I came this direction to find out which way I need to go.
Yeah, so before you leave tonight, you'll want to give your email or phone number to Eddie Symington, and then I'll be able to give you a call and I can follow
Excellent,
up. Yeah.
excellent. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Appreciate your
Okay.
concern for your son's education.
you.
That's awesome.
Nice to see you, Mark.
Nice to see you, Liz.
All right, we are getting really close to the end of the meeting, and do we have any meeting takeaways from board members tonight? Do you have one?
I'm just so excited about the kids that came and shared. I mean, they were just so, I mean, it's been a while since that's happened, right? But they're still riding this big cloud. I mean, they.
14 state
Yeah, but I
champions.
mean, it's just so, cool.
Wow.
And the comments
kinda
that they
cool.
had, that made me think about teamwork, you know, and this
She
sense
gets
of
to brag for
family
you.
and belonging that they have with each other, you know, we just watched some amazing things happen on TV, right? In girls basketball, right? But
Yep.
we have it going on right here in our
That's right.
schools. And the sense of community and playing together and to me, that's just, I'm happy. That's cool.
It's good.
Yeah, I did that for sure. I would, and I always love, especially seeing the elementary kids come up and share. I love that they have jobs and they're
Yeah.
very important
Yeah.
jobs
Yeah.
to do.
I
It's a-
second
it's a
what
way-
she just said. I enjoyed that too. Kristen, great work.
My big takeaway is all about the PLCs having an effect. I really love that. I love that teachers have been trained and they're starting to use that as an effective way to inform instruction. And I'm really thrilled that the district is taking the next step with the coaching model for PLCs. I can't wait to see the success that we've had on the West area replicated throughout the county, and I'm sure it is, and just taking it up to the next step, because the bottom line is that's all about student achievement outcomes, and that's professionalizing our teaching staff, and that's the way to make an impact for these kids. And I'm really thrilled about that. So on to reminders. We have a board work session on the 23rd, and that is also a budget committee training date. And Kim talked about the different times for that. On May 14th, we have a regular business meeting of the board, and looks like we'll decide next work session about accepting the idea of doing it at the airport. And on May 28th, we have a board work session at the TLC.
And Eddie, if we can find out about teacher conferences, I mean, I guess we know what David, maybe kind of make a game plan if who's gonna attend what.
Oh, yeah,
conferences
good idea.
Would be
Good idea.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I can make all around.
Same.
Put something together.
Okay.
You're sure.
The other reminder I sent Eddie tonight too, just to start getting on everybody's radar is graduation. Making sure we have the graduation times to the board and we know who is going where and how we're going to get all of those covered. So it's
Yeah.
getting close.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think I get to hand out the diplomas at Toledo High.
Yeah.
Very excited about that. Anything else for the good of the order? With that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.